Americans were so surprised to see that there were Jews in Iran. They're like, what? I thought that they were persecuted around the world. They always say that Jews need a homeland, but they live peacefully within Iran. They have synagogues and they coexist just how they were coexisting in Jerusalem under
They
Ottoman
have
rule.
kosher restaurants. They have kosher restaurants. They have
Kosher
an
is also
MP in
halal.
parliament.
Kosher is halal.
They have an MP in parliament.
Right. For time's sake, I just want to ask you a few more. I don't want to keep you too long. Thanks for coming on. But the rescue mission that recently happened, I was watching a Professor Jang lecture, and originally my theory was that they are going to justify ground troop invasion under the guise of rescue missions, because we have in our U.S. military doctrine no man left behind, where movies like Black Hawk Down are showing that the U.S. military, they're heroes and they're going to go Saving Private Ryan. There you go. We need to go and have this mission to save this one troop because we are the best people ever. Then you see this story where the pilot, the F-15 was shot down and the pilot is there alone by himself. And then he hikes a 2.1 kilometer mountain, and then they create a landing strip. They send in $300 million worth of equipment to go retrieve him. They send all these troops to go and save this guy. We don't know his name. He hasn't been identified. And then they claim victory and they say, we saved this guy, but we're not going to tell you who he is. Then Peter Hegseth, the Secretary of War, he fires 8 generals. We're wondering why. He's questioned, why did you fire these generals? He doesn't answer the question. Maybe it's because they were leaking some information to the media about this rescue mission. Is it true that the rescue mission was all a lie and that this was really a failed ground troop invasion?
I think that the generals were probably removed, and I think they were, I'm not quite sure right now. I think they were removed before this person was supposedly rescued. Maybe they were removed after the plane had been downed, but I think they were removed after the rescue, this so-called rescue mission took place. And I think it probably has a lot to do with these generals saying invading Iran or carrying out these operations are not a good idea. Don't do it. I think that was probably it. Although you'd have to ask people who know more about the workings of the U.S. military and the U.S. government rather than me. But what happened was that this guy, for whatever reason, he was apparently, from what we're told, even though as you know, we're told that he was a senior officer that wouldn't usually be in a plane.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently that plane was being used to gather information about that area so that an operation could be carried out. And that if we accept the narrative that this plane was down and that, as you said, he walked with, I don't know, broken leg for like 2.5 kilometers and then he went up a mountain and all that, if we accept all that, the amount of equipment and people who were brought in was too much for this, for this. The equipment that they had brought in was for an operation. Now, whether that operation was they brought it to, they needed these planes to save him or not, that's a different story. But in any case, the same people were supposed to carry out this operation. And the Iranians, there were Iranians there, and they ambushed them. And one of the planes was struck while it was in the air, and a helicopter was struck while it was in the air. And they both crash landed.
Hmm.
And the Iranians believed that they were dead soldiers who were dragged onto, and severely wounded soldiers who were dragged onto the planes when they were escaping. But the point is that the Iranians were very confident that this was more about these were the people who were supposed to carry out an operation to take Iran's enriched uranium, which, by the way, Iran has the legal right under international law to have, and it would have been. And as I said earlier, Joe Kent said that Iran was not pursuing a nuclear weapon. So none of this is legitimate. But in any case, this was a failed operation in the sense that there was a lot of damage, and that it is believed by the Iranians that these were the people who were planning to carry out an operation to go into Iran's nuclear installations and steal Iran's enriched uranium, which failed. And again, all of this is for Israel. The United States is wrecking the world economy. It's wrecking its own economy. It's killing all sorts of Iranians. It's letting the Israelis carpet bomb the Lebanese. And by the way, every day they're also killing Palestinians. Every day. Just today, because we shouldn't forget Palestine in all this. Every day Palestinians are being killed. Today, another journalist in Palestine in Gaza was assassinated, and a journalist in Beirut, by the way, was also murdered by the Israeli regime in these airstrikes. A woman. So this is the United States is doing all this for the sake of Zionism, and Zionists are doing. And meanwhile, the Zionists, while they're doing all of this in the name of Judaism, they bombed a synagogue in Tehran and completely destroyed it. I mean, they targeted that synagogue. It's just amazing.